All right, y'all. What's up? We are live. I am very excited. I want to make sure you can hear me. I'm talking a little quieter than usual because some of the kids are asleep, as you can imagine. Um, Gonna look at a passage of scripture today here. Actually, before we set things off, let me real quick give everyone a rundown of what's going down. I'm Vocab Malone. We're doing live backstage behind the scenes commentary on Islamicize Me. And tonight I'm doing something special. I don't have any guests to interview or anything like that. And so if you're in the live chat and you want to join in, I've actually left the link for Zoom right in the live chat. And so what you can do is download Zoom, it's free, and jump in and I'll you can talk to me in Zoom. For example, there's a chat that you'll be able to chat directly with me too in Zoom, so you have direct access, and you can also do something where you actually raise your hand, and there's another a number of other things you can do. And so you'll see once you come in the room. I've already got one person in. I'm going to bring that person in later. We're just going to have some conversation. So the idea is I'm actually letting some people contribute and talk about Islamicize Me with me directly tonight. And that's how we're doing it. But you got to do it through Zoom and then it goes out through YouTube. So I'll put the link in one more time so you know what I'm talking about. I know it's late, but oh, someone said my voice is cutting in and out. Hold on, let me see. What about now? Do I sound a little bit better? Everyone, is my voice still cutting in and out? I'm looking through the comments here, and someone said my voice was cutting in and out. We do not want that. Can you guys hear me now? All right. Now I know it's later, but what I've noticed is that some people prefer the later night ones. Some people don't. Some people do. Some people like the other ones, and I understand that. So, for example, there's international people, and they definitely prefer the later ones. It seems. For example, we got somebody here. No, Zoom doesn't have any spyware. It's a reputable program that businesses and places like that use for webinar. So it's not that type of thing. But I noticed we got someone from Indonesia, Roy. We've got somebody from Singapore, Sequest, and I know that they like the later times. We've also got at least two Canadians from Montreal. Did you guys see each other? There's two of you from Montreal in here, it appears. Oh, we also have Yoli from Indonesia as well. So that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so we're having a lot of fun here, and I'm excited about tonight. And oh, listen, one other thing, guys. Listen, if you're worried about as far as Zoom and you want to be in the panel, but you're not sure, there's two things you can do. Okay, one is we've got Andrew from Brisbane. What's up, Australia? One thing is we can you can just be in the panel and just watch it, and it's a little bit different than the YouTube experience because it's live, it's in real time. There's a slight delay to YouTube, so that's one cool thing if you're in it, so you can hear and see me directly better. Hey, Richard Kern from Switzerland, awesome. We also got another Canadian, Marique. We also got another Canadian, Be Blasted. Wow, apparently this is a time for Canadians. And so you don't have to actually be heard on Zoom. Also, you could elect to say, hey, I just want to keep my camera off. So it's just however you want to experience it. Just give it a shot for one time and you'll see. We haven't done this before, so I'm trying to get you guys used to it. It's pretty cool when you do it because it's like you're in the room with me. Hey, Naomi, checking in from Australia. No. What do you mean nothing's happening on YouTube, guys? Some people are saying you don't see me on YouTube, but I see the live stream right now. I'm watching it, and I'm seeing the live chats right now on YouTube. There's 54 people watching, and we're here right now. And I don't know. I'm a little confused. The way it works is I go through Zoom and it broadcasts to YouTube. Hey, Ben from New Zealand. So we're going to continue on, and I'm going to check the Zoom room right now while we bring more people in. Okay, good. Good to hear, Nate. Hey, what's up, Crown from Fiji? What's up, Ben, also from New Zealand? I don't know if I already said your name. Sorry. But hey, listen to this, guys. take the link for this and share it. Okay, share it out. Take the link here and go ahead and share it. Here's the link just in case you don't know, so we can get a couple more people watching. I know it's late, so I know it's going to be different, but there it is. Okay, so I've also got some news for you guys. Are you guys listening? David told me tonight's episode is going to be late, so it's not going to be dropping until about 2 a.m. East Coast time. Around 2 a.m. East Coast time. So that's late. And the reason is there's special effects tonight. So there's some special effects that have to do with Robert Spencer and his character. As you can imagine, we might have him doing some special effects. And so because of the special effects that Robert's doing, it's taking extra time to edit. It is coming out. I've been in contact with David. Honestly, it's probably going to drop like right when we get done with this. Hey, shout out to Naomi, Amosa, and the super chat. Everyone, the super chat is a way that you support these live streams. To be honest, they're one reason I started putting more time and effort into the live streams, because I saw how effective they were. And I saw people were even willing to basically directly support them. And when I saw that, I said, let's keep doing this. Because look, I don't know if you guys know, but I got 3 kids and, I'm raising them. I don't really have much. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. I don't really have a lot of help. I'll just put it this way, in the situation that I have to raise them. And so there's a lot going on, but you guys have been real supportive. So again, thank you, Naomi, Amosa, in the super chat. All right. Oh, we've got more people coming in. All right. Well, so guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you all in on as panelists. Okay. All the folks that I see, but you're going to be muted for now. And you do not have to have your camera on. That'll be up to you. But for now, you're going to be muted. And I got to explain a couple of things about how the Zoom room works, everybody that I'm bringing in, because I'm bringing in Mackenzie, Alexander, Nate, and we're just going to have a little conversation. I've never done this before. I've never had a whole bunch of people with me, but we're going to try it. So for now, everyone keep your microphones muted. And you can have your camera on or off. That's up to you. I have Zoom on speaker view, so it's all good either way. Now, you can also see me in the chat, though. See the chat, everyone? Okay, I see Joe Cool's already in there. So you're figuring out. Joe says Zoom is easy to upload and install. Thumbs up. Mackenzie says, I have you, but no vid for now. I'll bring you in. Oh, that was me talking to Mackenzie. Sorry. Okay, so we've got 7 other people. Awesome. For now, you guys are muted, but obviously you can still listen to what's going on. Later on, I'm going to actually talk to you guys. But I just like to have you in the room, and you can directly chat with me. I see you, Joe. You can directly chat with me. So if you want to directly contact me, I'll see these chats in Zoom as well. Now, I'm not going to respond to everyone because I'm still also looking over at the YouTube live stream. But let me tell you guys something. Since you're in here with me, you can watch the live stream as well. And if there's any comments you think I should definitely respond to, take note. And anything you send in the chat is just between us in the room. So everyone in the room can see it, but no one else can see it. And there's one other thing I want to teach you what you can do. Look around on your control panel, and you can actually raise your hand. You can raise your hand. And raise your hand is where you're like, hey, I have a question. And it's a way to get my attention right inside the room. And when I say raise your hand, you're raising your hand. It's a little hand icon that appears. So just mess around with it. And if you knock yourself off on accident, I'll bring you back in. But for now, you guys are just in here with me. We're going to watch this together. And like I said, I'm going to talk to you guys later. I'm really glad to have you guys in there. You look great. This is fun. This is like a new little experimental thing. All right. So with that, let us get started. We're going to prioritize the YouTube live chat vocab. Hey, we're working all together. We got 74 people. Okay, so we're getting this started. All right. Let's watch day 28. That's going to be the one we're going to do commentary for. And I'm going to it right now. I'm bringing it up, and I'm going to screen share. And then you should be able to see it. The sound is never very good, so I talk over it, but it's Islamicize Me, day 28, Robert Spencer, robs our caravan. And I've got all kinds of little behind the scenes things to tell you guys. I think you guys will enjoy, and that's why you do these. So here we go. Islamicize Me, day 28. I am now sharing my screen, so everybody should be able to see it. Excellent. All right. Now, Oh boy, I've got a comment on this. I forgot I had a Dynamite episode on my hands where I've got a comment on it. Okay. Okay. What have I got myself into here? Okay. Let me briefly explain something here. Oh my goodness. Some of you know there's a little bit of a controversy about Islamicize Me. Now, let me just say something. When we were recording this, we knew it was going to be controversial. The second we started rolling and we saw kind of what we were coming up with. Now, we had written some scripts and had the ideas. We already knew those were going to be controversial. But when we started recording is really when, I even looked and I said, half my relationships are over. Now, I was kind of joking around, but I knew how people would take some of this. Now, our point was never to just offend to offend. By the way, I'm freezing it on here because don't you guys love John's his awesome katanas there? He's got blades. The reason is because we used to dress up for Comic-Con and stuff, and so I actually used to use these. They're like rubber blades that look really cool, and so he loves to wear them whenever he can. So anyways, it's pretty awesome. Okay. But we didn't know when the criticism would come and from what sectors it would come. But ironically, it didn't actually primarily come from Muslims. The criticism come from Christians. Now, to be fair, this series by and large has been very well received, but there's been some criticism, and you guys have heard it, and some of it's been from a man I greatly admire, respect, and love, James White. And so I'm going to explain more what's going on in the scene, but that's where the scene comes into play. Now, notice our reactions. I need to explain something about these reactions. When we were sitting here at the TV scenes, there was actually nothing in front of us. We were not watching TV. It was a blank TV. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And what we'd do is the cameraman would just say, okay, look bored. Okay, look surprised. Okay, look angry. Okay, look. So he would just laugh. You see what I'm saying? Nod in agreement. And so we just got these reaction shots. And so they edited in what we're watching in later and then just showed the reaction shots. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So we were never actually obviously watching James White, who was speaking now. These simply were already pre-existing reaction shots. And then David edited in the James White clip, which I'm going to explain again later. So let's check this out. Let's check this out here.
That the analysis of his life, that it is actually Allah's intention that his life be lived in such a way as to provide us with the example that all people are to use in all cultures.
So when we first began Islamicize Me, one of the things some Christians had a problem with was what they considered the aspect of mocking. And so James White here is doing some criticism of Islamicize Me. But when he was doing some of the criticism of Islamicize Me, he, in a way, was proving the point of why we were doing what we were doing. He said there's a lot of stuff in the sources that needs to be analyzed in light of the fact that Islam claims Muhammad is the man to emulate for all times and seasons, and it's transcultural, meaning he's the one that you follow to see what it means to follow Islam. Here specifically, James White actually brings up the example of dipping the fly, and he says it's obviously untrue.
That's obviously untrue.
See, obviously untrue. So the point of Islamicize is to bring that out. So we actually, there's an agreement, obviously, between James White and ourselves here about the nature of what Muhammad did, what's called the Sunnah, his model, and how it should be examined because of what Muslims say. That's probably the key line. This is why David wanted to include it. And I understand it's sort of what a jujitsu move, right? In a way. And if you guys understand, that reference should make sense to most of you. But listen to this. I know the audio is not too loud, but a person that would go that far is then worthy of being marked if they end up puking their guts out. So he's sort of saying like, hey, I guess it would make sense in a sense. And that's really what we're saying. So we're saying that there's a strong sense in which James White and us agree. It's just he wouldn't go about it the way we do it. But that's where some of the differences come in. And it's okay. We think it's great the way different apologists do different things, right? We just also think there's room for groups like us to maneuver. Let me look at you guys for a second here. I know that what we're doing is not for everybody, okay? I know that everyone's not going to appreciate it. We know that. We're not as dumb as we look, right? But the thing is that we do think it's needed, and we do think some people will appreciate it. And we're glad that it's happening. And we think there's rooms for different types of people to do this. 11, I had you in Zoom, by the way, but then you dropped out when I tried to add you. Okay, there you are. I think you just came in. Okay, excellent. And so there's different styles, and we're going to use creativity and satire and some different things that I think work for what you might call a YouTube generation that not all apologists would use. And some of it I think is cultural and some of it's generational. For example, folks who spend a lot of time on YouTube, millennials and all that, have been very appreciative of the series. It's a little harder a lot of times for various reasons, some good, some bad, for older Christians to get into it. And I'm not saying it's all that is. Okay, someone has to do with the way you're raised. There's all kinds of factors. And by the way, I'm not saying that we're above criticism. We're not. And there's sometimes we probably did go above too far, but we decided to go all out, and it is what it is. And it's more of a general question of, is something like this even allowable? I think the answer to that is definitely yes. We have our reasons, our rationale, which we've tried to give. But here we're showing this clip. Now, here's the next part. I'm going to go back to the screen share where we transition from watching that. Okay. And then David, if you notice, what's he doing? He's sharpening the knife on one of the rocks. Now, if you've been watching the series, you know what that rock is used for. So hopefully that's a clean one that's never been used for, because those rocks, remember, those are the rocks you wipe yourself with. So he's saying, look, we've only got a few days left to kill Robert Spencer and anyone who happens to be around him. That's kind of the terrorist mentality. It's kind of a funny line. And I say we get little Debbie to do it. See, we're trying to get anyone to do it but ourselves. And because Giotti Jr., he sold us out. But then David says, or we could do it ourselves. Now, what is this? This is a downtown Phoenix hotel in real life, right? Here we are, downtown Phoenix in the spring, waiting, dressed as Muslims outside the hotel room, with knives and all this out and stuff. So we looked mildly suspicious, especially when we were walking around in this downtown Phoenix hotel. This is actually where some of the folks involved were actually staying in real life. And so the way we did it is we called Robert and said, okay, now come out of the hotel, because he knew what the scene was. So he came out when we called him. And then the driver actually is the same actor who played Jihad Johnny, or Jihad Jr. Now, you never get to see his face because it's covered up by a hood, but it's the same actor. Now, why do we blur out the license plate? Some of the license plates we don't care about because they're rentals. Other ones are people's cars, so we blurred out the license plate. So that's why. So now basically we're going to be following him around downtown Phoenix to go to the location, because our goal is to kill Robert Spencer, right? When you can actually see street signs. If you know Phoenix, Clarendon is a downtown street. It's 62 degrees. Do you guys notice that? That is beautiful weather for Phoenix. It's hardly ever that cool. But look, if you look, it actually is 62 degrees that day. I mean, man, that is nice weather for Phoenix. It's usually not like that. So I really was on my weather app, which is kind of funny, right? And we just were improvising in the car. So I was coming up with dumb stuff. Like I checked the weather report. What's it say? It says perfect day to kill an infidel. We were just doing these corny jokes so we could laugh. And when he shows that, I say knife instead of nice. Where are they going? I know where they're going. Straight to hellfire. David screams like a madman. Allahu Akbar. That blade is a blade. It's called Damascus steel. And everyone was asking, are we like knife nerds? Nah, we didn't really know what we were doing. We just wanted an authentic one, and it's pretty cool. And now it's in my house. I've got to keep it. Now, where are we? We are at a Middle Eastern church. So they let us film there. They knew what we were doing. It's kind of funny. We're dressed up as Muslims at a Middle Eastern church. But obviously, he's going into this building. It doesn't say church or anything like that, but that's what it is. So he's going into the building, and we're like, oh, Allah's delivered us. We're going to get him. So the action here happens in the parking lot. And, it's just kind of mundane. It's just chill. The idea of we're voyeuristic watching him. Obviously, they know what's going on. We pull in. There's no music. It's real quiet. The idea is we're trying to creep up on him. Notice how quiet the scene is. Right? Crickets. There's like no sound to it. And so then we go. And then I'm going to have to stop here. Now, check this out. Let me do this. Who has seen the movie Warriors. Some of you, I bet, have seen the movie Warriors. What is Warriors? It's an old, like, late 70s movie, right? And what it is it's about like the gangs and stuff in the 70s, but it's totally like artistic license all the way. Like one of the gangs dresses up like as baseball players and they got baseball bats and stuff. It's really silly. You know, they wear clown makeup, one of the other gangs, right? And so you've got all these different gangs, but it's representative of the actual gang situation that was happening, like with the Black Spades and all these actual gangs. And it was pretty bad in New York during that time, right? And so there's a movie called Warriors, which was sort of an abstraction, artistic rendition of that. And with that, there's a classic scene. When I grew up listening to hip hop, you would always hear this. And I'd actually heard the audio clip before I'd ever seen the movie Warriors. And it would go, "Warriors, come out and play." And the character was trying to goad them into fighting because they were about to have like the film's climax, this big epic showdown. And he keeps on clipping the empty bottles together. Now, you would not believe, out of all the fancy stuff we did together to put like this together, you know, where we were gonna like have different things we needed to get empty bottles was actually pretty hard. You know, it took a lot of work for us to get these empty bottles because we didn't really have a bunch of empty bottles around. And so it was like a lot of work to get 3 empty bottles. And David was on a quest. Every time we went somewhere, he's like, let's go to Circle K, let's buy this so I can have empty glass bottles. And then the empty glass bottles we did get would disappear. Eventually it all worked out and he got his empty glass bottles. By the way, shout out to Jerron Haney in the super chat. Oh, hold on. Let me fix something here real quick on Zoom. I'm not ready to bring in people just yet. Okay. All right, just let me make sure everything's set up here. Just for now, Mackenzie, mute your mic. It was temporarily unmuted. If you can, mute your mic for now, Mackenzie, so you can. Yeah, because every time you make a sound, it brings you on. Well, we're going to get you guys on later, but just not yet. All right, so we got the empty glass bottles. He's clinging him, he's shining him. It's like a rhythmic kind of taunting, kind of menacing thing is the vibe. It's a pretty cool little scene. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch Warriors come out and play. Just put that in. But my bad. Going back to what's up, Dron Haney in the super chat. Just wanted to bless you. Much love and blessings in Messiah Yeshua. And then also, Jerron, you say the Robert Spencer character is coming out as demonic. Well, check this out. Let me explain that. Mr. Rich B.O.B. says, indeed a bit. I think it is intentional from their perspective. Yes, there you go. Okay, so let me explain this. The Robert Spencer character, again, hey, Mackenzie, I think you still got to mute your mic again. It unmuted for some reason. So whenever you make a sound, it appears your name because it thinks you're about to talk. Okay, so check this out. Robert Spencer has had multiple attempts on his life. One in Iceland where they tried to poison him, and another one actually that some of the series is based out of that involved a person I knew named Elton Simpson, where he went to Garland, Texas to try to shoot up a cartoon drawing contest that Robert Spencer was doing with Pamela Geller. And that didn't work out either. And in both cases, it didn't work. And I think there might have been a third attempt. I'm forgetting what it is off the top of my head. But there's been multiple attempts on his life. And we're kind of playing up on that fact as if he's invincible. Now, obviously, he's not. This is artistic license. It's to make him be this other type of character because he stands against jihad and different things so strongly, and he puts himself out there that we're making him this way. And then imagine, you have a good point. Remember, this is perspectival, like perspective, however you say the word, in the sense of our characters. Well, we got 113 people watching this late at night. This is amazing. Awesome. Remember, from our perspective, he's like wicked and evil and bad. So there's like there's some abstract aspects to the art we're doing. I mean, this is satire that's got lowbrow comedy, but there's also these abstract kind of weird intellectual ideas. So when you watch it, kind of think like, what were they trying to go for? What's going on? And sometimes when you explain art, it kind of takes away the power. But nonetheless, I'm trying to get you guys to think. So we're looking at this guy from our perspective, and it's played up a certain way. And also supposed to be just kind of funny and awesome because no one has magic yet in the series except for the backpack, right? There's that element's not in there, but all of a sudden he comes and he sort of is like has magic. Now, what's that? I mean, really, the idea is from the Muslims' perspective, because they don't think God is with them. Like, how can it be, right, that he's still alive and he's doing these things? And so we're representing it sort of in a Jedi Knight-like way. We're not going to give him Force lightning because that's a Sith thing, but you'll see he's got some different powers. And so with that, that's where it comes from. And he just laughs a lot. And the idea is that it's menacing to the Muslims, like these Muslim characters. The fright and the fear and the horror movie aspect comes from their perspective. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So that's really what it is. And to us, it's just hilariously awesome. And another reason we did it is so he can confront these guys and outwit them without having to be violent. We don't want him killing them and shooting them and stuff like that. So if we do it in this comedic magic way, it's epic. It makes him seem awesome. It's kind of funny. It's unexpected. So it adds to the value, I think. But also what it does is it avoids like us having to do violence. You guys see what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to explain a little bit there. Let me see here. I'm reading through the comments real quick, guys. I'm reading through the comments. I'm not going to read some of these comments, guys. I appreciate some of these comments, but some of them, it takes a second. I'm just reading through these. All right, I think we went through there. Oh, is the t-shirt Cobra Kai? Melody Malone asks. Let me get my nerd on here for a second. And then we're going to continue on watching this together. Oh, Shockwave, the robot, says Cobra from G.I. Joe. Yes, it is Shockwave. However, notice what's in the middle of my shirt. It's a cactus. Oh, I got toothpaste stains right there. I didn't notice that. It's embarrassing. There's a cactus in the middle of my shirt because I am in a local G.I. Joe collectors club called the AZ Desert Vipers. And so this is our custom logo, right? Our custom logo where we've got the Cobra with the cactus in the middle. So fun, right? All right. So that's what that is. I see. All right. Robert Spencer needs a lightsaber. Cobra Commander. All right. Some of you guys know what's going on. All right. So Cactus Cobra, Johnny Torch, you got it. Yes, exactly. Now, here's what's happening. So David's about to do that. And man, David got really into this. He was like pretty maniacal with it when he started doing the Warriors come out and play. But notice the way the cameraman did this and the way it set up, the editing was flawless. Like it was done perfectly to have a shock and suspense moment. My kids were even scared the first time they saw this. And I thought it was done so well. It was so cool. It's pretty funny. And I'm going to show it to you. Now, most of you guys have seen it, but let's watch this together and I'll try to explain a little bit about how it's done. All right, here we go. So it's a flashback where he remembers you don't just kill him, you terrorize him. And so now Dennis, the Dennis character, is doing the terrorizing, right? So he's doing the rhythmic thing and does the Robert, come out and play. Robert, come out to play. Robert, come out to play. Robert, come out to play. Oh man. All right. Now let me pause this for a second here. Oops, where am I going?
Islamic claim.
Oh, oops. Oh man. Okay. I'm reading some comments. Vocab fills sentences with dub, abba, dub, yabba, dabba. Is that like Flintstone talk? Lenny SB says, much of the mockery you defend behind the use of the word satire is actually untruthful. I'll let you have your opinion, but I sort of take that personally, and you're wrong. Jesus is about truth. Now, that's true. I've seen representation of Islam in your videos, i.e. the dog slaughter example. Lenny SB, before you accuse me of that, before you accuse us of that, I think we could look up something, right? I'm a little confused why you would say that. What do you mean it's incorrect? It's not true. I mean, let me give you an example. Do you know what Muhammad said about black dogs specifically? Do you know? He said they're the devil. Like straight up, the devil. So this is a big deal. Do you know in the UK there's different let me see here. I want to make sure. I'm gonna look up some of these sites here real quick here. Yeah. I want to see which one I want to show you here. Just Google Muslims, dogs, public, anything like that, and you'll see that it's not incorrect what we're saying. Now, again, I'm sure you understand that we are this is satire, but it's not incorrect. There is actually let me just screen share this. I'm some of my way through this because I didn't think I was going to see this, but sometimes people say stuff, and let's just deal with this real quick here. So let's check this out. For example, some of the Gatstone Institute. Muslims in Spain declare jihad on dogs in 2011. All right. Spanish authorities are investigating the recent deaths by poisoning of more than a dozen dogs in Lerida, a city in the northeastern region of Catalonia that has become ground zero in an intensifying debate over the role of Islam in Spain. All the dogs were poisoned in September, and they give local media report examples. See that? And Lerida's working-class neighborhoods of Capo and La Barrera districts that are heavily populated Muslim immigrants and where many dogs have been killed in recent years. You see that? Do you see this? Local residents say Muslim immigrants killed the dogs because, according to Islam, dogs are unclean animals. Remember that if you have a dog in the house, that Gabriel cannot enter, an angel won't enter. Over the past several months, residents taking their dogs for walks have been harassed by Muslim immigrants opposed to seeing the animals in public. Muslims have also launched a number of anti-dog campaigns on Islamic websites and blogs based in Spain. In response to the lack of sufficient police to protect the neighborhood, 50 local residents have established alternating 6-person citizen patrols to escort people walking their dogs. That's crazy you would even have to do that. In July, 2 Islamic groups based in Lerida asked city officials to regulate the presence of dogs in public spaces so they do not offend Muslims. Muslims are demanding that dogs be banned from all forms of public transportation, including all city buses, as well as from all areas frequented by Muslim immigrants. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and read this whole thing, but because it's kind of long, but there's multiple stories you can look up like that. So I'm having trouble what you mean, why you would say what you're saying, because everything we're saying is from the sources. We read the sources, and then we show what's going on, and then we act it out in an absurd way. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would say that. I mean, I'm trying to look to see if you've got anything you came up with after this. But yeah, I don't see. Yeah, Mr. Rich B.O.B. Islamicize Me is not mindlessly mocking Islam. It does so according to their traditions and sources. Any Muslims who say it is senseless are not. Yeah, see, that's correct. Yeah, these are great questions. So, I mean, I see this, and I'm not going to go through all these, but I don't know. I'm not taking it really personal. Islam has working dogs. I mean, Islam, do you mean Muslims have working dogs? Security, shepherding, search, rescue. Muhammad gave water to a dog. The companions had dogs. So, okay. Well, okay, Lenny, my guess would be then that it's okay if you are, no problem, but you're probably a Muslim yourself, because once you start trying to show the kindness of Muhammad, even though he said black dogs were the devil, then you say the companions had dogs, that's somebody who usually is a Muslim to refer to them as companions. I mean, what's your opinion of black dogs, Lenny? What do you think about black dogs? I mean, I'd love to hear what you think of black dogs. So Jesus is about truth. This is satire, but everything is from the sources. All right. So with that, we're going to watch this again. And by the way, David Wood is in there, Acts 17 Apologetics, sharing some of the sources, mainly talking about how dogs as pets had to be killed. And this is true because there were certain forms like hunting dogs and farm dogs that they're allowed to have. But the thing is, apparently there was changes. At first, Muhammad ordered the followers to kill all dogs, but then they complained, and later on it changed. No, we killed a household pet. And when I used to have, so we're getting off track here a little bit, but look, I used to go witnessing at the mosque because of different things. Right now, I don't go every week, but I used to go every week. And I used to witness to Muslims at the mosque when they were coming out. And I would get numbers of guys, and they would come over to the house later on, and I would have to make my house set up to where they wouldn't be offended. So I would put my dog in his crate and actually put a blanket over the crate. So out of courtesy, he didn't come and say, "You don't have any dogs, do you?" These were nice guys, okay? But when I would have them over for dinner or to talk, I would always put the dog away out of courtesy to them, you know? And that's okay to do. Now let's go back to the Robert Spencer Warriors come out and play here, which again, you know, David really got into. It was pretty awesome. And I'm going to show you some of the things that were done here. They're pretty cool. So we're watching this together. You know, I love the way it pans up, and then he's just doing that menacing ring, and it begins kind of chill, and it gets crazier and crazier, right? That's the whole point of this. Now, watch the edit. It is beautiful because Robert Spencer is not in the back seat with us. We put him in the back seat later, but the way it was done is the camera pans up. The audio changes because it's showing a different perspective. It pans up to the sun. This is done in the perfect time of day. And when it pans back down, the cameraman takes his time around the car to very last reveal Robert. So see, watch, he starts there. He did such a great job on this. There's my character. I got the sword. John's all smiley. You know, John looks ridiculous. And then there's Dennis's character. Now, you still don't see. Now, look at this close-up of the blade. Now, here it goes. The music. What's the game? It takes a moment of realization. John, of course, is the first to scream. And this is kind of funny. If you notice, my character runs out the front seat instead of going out the side door like I could have. It just made it more dramatic. So he's in there laughing. I'm running dumb. I ran dumb on purpose with my arms failing. John still has his knife with the sheath. Dennis's character only has 2 bottle glasses. Now watch what he does. Claps the door. This took forever to get right because we had to have people laying there on the ground and shut it. It's a whole complex operation. And if you notice, there's a slight delay. One of the doors shuts slightly after the one, and we just had to keep that take. It worked out, you know? And now, you know, he waves and says, "Peace out" to us. Meanwhile, he drives off, and we're like, what? And he drives, and he's driving. Now, that line is going to become important later on in the series. Some of you already could tell where we're going with that, and yes, we are going there with that. Total travesty of justice. I don't know why, but I wrote that, and I thought it was funny to just keep on saying that again and again. Total travesty of justice. So you'll see a number of times where whenever I bring this up that Robert Spencer robbed our caravan, I keep on saying total travesty of justice. I don't know why. No one else really thought it was funny. For some reason, it just struck me as funny to keep on saying total travesty of justice in relationship to the robbing of the caravan. I throw down my glasses, you know, and I want to show you guys something though. They actually didn't leave the set. You see right here behind Jamal's head, the Grand Caravan's still there. Now you may say, oh, they're driving off. Sure, that works for the idea. You could just say they're driving off super, super slow. But in reality, they just stopped there. We thought they were out of the shot. They're kind of really not. They're just sitting there in the parking lot. So it's just kind of funny when you watch it. Do you see right there, guys, what I'm pointing to? Just know that the Caravan's actually still in the shot. I just point out these little things that are funny. And so then he says, what kind of man robs another man's caravan? So we really are playing that idea up. All right, so total travesty of justice, blah, blah, blah. Now, some people ask, what happened to the Escort, you know, the guy who drove him in? I think the idea is that we had just forgotten about him. Like we weren't concerned about the driver, you know, as much. You know, he's just in there. We're not going to kill him. If he happened to be Robert Spencer, we would. But now we went down the street, and the implication is we had been walking the whole way. But again, we're amateurs having fun. Why do I say it like that? What's this? Can anyone tell me what that is? What is that? That's the caravan. That's the Grand Caravan again. It's in the shot. We thought it wasn't going to be in the shot, but it's now. I mean, the thing is, all these things can be explained away. You just say, hey, we're in a parking lot. Someone else had a Grand Caravan. That's really an easy explain. But the reality is that's where we parked to walk to do the scene. I just think it's funny. So I'm just pointing these things out to you. Now, we really are walking to a bus stop. And yes, we did attract attention during this scene. When we were doing this, we had, I don't want to say issues, but people took notice of us. I'll just put it that way. It was an early Saturday morning. And I don't know if that car horn happened or if David put it in there or what, but there we are on 19th Avenue. Now watch this. Watch this. I'm going to show you another thing. Because I didn't want the bus to actually wait on us, I'm going to wave the bus on. And so it kind of gives us wait a little bit. But again, these can all be explained. You could just say that I'm just kind of waving to the bus. You know, I'm saying hi or something like that. But if you notice, I waved to the bus because I'm waving the bus on. I slowed it down so you guys could kind of see it. So I'm just pointing these little things out to you. And then what do? This is why we attracted attention, because while the bus was parked, we had to run because what we thought the cameraman was going to do, by the way, the cameraman is in the middle of the street. This is like a 4-lane road in the city. He's in the suicide lane in the middle, taking the shot. Well, I thought he was going to take the shot of the bus pulling off, so it was more convincing that we had got on. And so we ran as fast as we could, knife in hand. I don't know if you noticed. Let me show you guys that real quick. That Dennis's character is walking with a knife underneath his arm. See that? And then he's waiting with it. You guys see that? He has the knife actually with him. So we're waiting out there dressed as Muslims. And, you know, he's got this knife, this blade still out, right? And I don't know if people notice. But the thing is, we ran here and to hide behind a car. And then we jumped in the van. Well, by the time we were gone, when we were waiting, a group of 4 or 5 women had come out. I don't know where they came from. And they were pointing and talking about what was going on. They were discussing it. I think one of them was pulling out their phone. I don't know what was going on, but I was like, guys, let's get out of here before they call the cops. I wish I had video footage of it because we ran real fast and it just looked super suspicious, right? But nonetheless, everything worked out. We didn't have any problems. So I'm just going to let this kind of play while I speak over it. I'm going to go back and look in the chat. In a second here, I'm going to bring you guys who are in the room in. Let's take a look at the chat here. I need to go back a little bit. Oh, yeah. Someone's saying I talk fast like the Micro Machine guy. Sorry, I do get kind of going. You know, it's just, yeah, it just happens sometimes. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any comments here. Oh, I hear someone. Are you planning a sequel? No, but we do have things coming up after this. We've got a Muhammad versus Jesus rap battle we're working on. So let's see here. Who plays the imam at the mosque? Mr. Rich. That was Sam Shamoon, who I interviewed a few days ago. So check that out. He also plays Halal Hogan. Yeah, which some of you guys noticed there. By the way, you know, Lenny, it's okay if you want to stick around. We're just briefly disagreeing with you there. So let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Now I know what you're talking about. Someone pointed that out when I did that earlier. I know what you mean now. You're not doing good satire unless someone, hold on. Oh, you're not doing good satire unless someone says, guys, let's get out before someone calls the cops. Say, that's pretty good. That's actually, that's pretty good. I like that. That's legit. All right. Burning family photos is also not required, rather placed away in a private place. I'm not saying that Islam does not have problems, but a proper Islamic scholar could check your interpretations. Well, okay, so Lenny's still sort of tripping about on some of this. I might come back to that. Is it true that Muslims face discrimination in American society? Well, I don't know. You know, maybe not. But I'll tell you what. We you know, let me stop sharing here for a second so I can read these without showing everything. You know, we never had anyone really give us a problem, and we did a lot of very suspicious looking things, and yet we never had anyone give us a problem. In fact, we had compliments on how we were dressed in different things. We actually had compliments, like when we went in different stores, and you know, you feel a little self-conscious, but we didn't feel that kind of discrimination by and large. And it seems like people maybe went out of the way to be nice to us. I'm not saying it never happens. Okay. I'm just saying that we didn't have those kind of problems. And it was nice to see overall. So it was good. You see here. Yeah. You got honked. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Okay, we're talking about temporary marriage, and we're talking about okay. Okay, these are funny comments, but again, I just can't simply rule these. Hey, what's up? USA rules freedom of speech. Okay, you know what? Great comments, but again, can't get to all these. So let us talk to the friends in the Zoom room. We've never done this before. So everybody in the Zoom room, listen. Can you guys do this? Please, please have your if you have any sound coming out of your computer, turn, like if you have the video playing of the live stream. Here's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking clearly. If you currently are watching the live stream, turn it off, because when I bring you up, if that's still playing, I'm going to hear anything you play on your computer over the microphone. So I'm going to hear everything. And so if you play anything, any sound at all while you're unmuted, it will be heard. So turn those down, because it should be fine, because you should be able to hear me on Zoom. And I'm going to give the link one more time if you guys want to come in and join us. Okay. So we're going to do something different we haven't done. We kind of did the commentary for that. David, let us know when the episode's coming out, because you said around 2. So it should be getting close to coming out, I would guess. The episode hasn't dropped, though. Everybody has it. I would think David would tell me. Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. But my guess is pretty soon. All right, so I'm going to go back into the Zoom room, and I'm going to unmute you one by one. So, Mackenzie, you are first, and we're just going to have a conversation together. So this will be fun. Now, you can have your video on or not, but I do definitely need to have you unmuted on your audio. Okay, you are unmuted. So right now it's just Mackenzie. You guys are still all in the room with me, and I'm gonna flip the view where everybody can be seen. So how you doing, Mackenzie? You're live. You're the first one in the Zoom room with me.
Wow, yay, that's exciting.
All right, so now instead of just typing in comments, any comment you want to give about the series, or especially what we watched today, the floor is yours. See, I just heard. Okay, yeah, make sure you have the other stream off, everybody, because when you come on, it'll be heard. So, Mackenzie, you got any? What's it like being in the room? You might feel a little more nervous, but just imagine you're typing your comments.
Yeah, I know there's some nerves going. This one was really exciting. I really like this one. It's got a little craziness to it, but it really, I thought it was artistically, it was great.
That's good to hear. All right. See, that's a great one sentence review. Hey, you're doing good. It's a start. We're all just chilling out here today. All right. Now
I kind of want to know, how can we help you more?
Well, we're still trying to figure out some of those ways about how to do that. Like, for example, some people that are active on YouTube and have basic video knowledge, we're telling them to, we actually want people to re-upload some of the shows on other channels, or unique things. Like, we had a YouTube user who took a compilation of episodes 1 through 25, right, and made a 3-hour supercut. I thought that was cool. Now, it's not a complete thing, but it's like a thing while it's happening in motion, and somebody could just hit play and just watch it. These kind of little creative ways that kind of contribute. Obviously, the retweeting of things on social media. Now, everyone doesn't use all social media aspects. Some just have one. That's all good. But some people have others. So, if you're on Twitter, retweeting the stuff, following everybody on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, doing the stuff there. And obviously, the other ones are Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Periscope is not as much anymore. But, those things. And then, of course, we need prayer because of the stuff we're doing, and also for our own hearts and minds and souls. In fact, I said I was going to get into Acts 15 before we started. I think I'm going to do it at the end now, because once we got started with technical things, I forgot. And then John, myself, and David all have Patreons as well. And so people can do Patreon, not required, but we do some cool stuff on Patreon too. And so there's multiple ways, social media promotion, and then this, and then, there's, in the future, we're going to even put out calls every now and then for people who want to be in these video series we do. And so sometimes we'll need help with that, but that's in the future more. I don't know what else kind of stuff are you talking about? Because we do have some future ambitious stuff in mind. So I don't know if that helps as far as the beginning project, because this series alone costs $15,000 to $20,000, which is crazy, right?
That is crazy. Well, I get my first paycheck soon, so you'll get a little cut of that. Promise.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I've been going through YouTube comments for the different people doing Tommy Robinson, and they keep going to events where stand up to racism is against them. So I've been dropping little links saying, hey, check out how racist Muhammad was.
All right.
So far, no one's biting, but I'm hoping that if, more people go into like the newer videos and start dropping more and more comments, especially so the people in the UK can get more knowledge and then get less violent. Because I feel like the more knowledge you have, the less you lash out at, Islam it's a religion of peace, but it's angry. And there's a disconnect, but you can't figure out what, because you're not allowed to talk about anything. So the gag orders and like not being able to talk about anything is what's kind of stirring up the violence. So
yeah, we in the US especially are blessed because we can do things that people in other countries can watch and see, but they would never be able to do in their own context. And so hopefully there's some helpful, we can use some of the freedoms we have to help folks in other contexts. Well, with that, let me bring in Joe Cool McCall. What's up, man? How you doing? You are unmuted, so you can be heard. What are your thoughts, bro?
Wait, let me unmute. Where are we at?
I can hear you. You're fine.
Okay,
you're good.
awesome. Hey, it's good to meet you. I just wanted to say I really like the work that you guys are doing. It's awesome. When I first followed David Woods seems like years ago now, I was very on the edge about what I thought, because what he was saying, that's true, but I'm a very sensitive guy myself. So I was very uncomfortable with some of the tactics, even though I was laughing.
Right.
I said, if you were trying to approach me, I was very uncomfortable with that.
Right.
But, about 4 years ago, I worked at a private school in Columbus, Ohio, that was predominantly with Islamic students. It's a private Islamic school, actually, and I was a teacher there.
Wow.
And so I really came face to face with the culture there, and I met everything from very conservative, I would say, East African, Somali Muslims, much more liberal Muslims from all over the line, and I saw the differences there. And a lot of the things that you're saying, your methods are really applicable to many of the people that I met, especially those coming from Africa and the Middle East. The more westernized, I would even say those who are converts. I sometimes I don't really know if this would really work, right. But the majority of the people that I've met, this is really, it's a necessary method that you really, because they want to argue with you. And just right. Like Woods was saying, if you're not passionate, if you're not being vocal, they're not connecting with that. And you're just and if I'm just laying out a well thought out 5-point plan of logic, it just wasn't something that would work with them. So I'm in fully support of what you're doing, and with the entire program, and even but I also want to say with what you're doing with James White, it's almost like you're reaching out an olive branch to him with this episode. I don't know. I just overall, just really proud of you guys.
Well, yeah, it's like this. So for me, if someone disagrees, criticizes, even says messed up stuff, I don't take any of it personal. Some of it's just the internet. Some of it's just people, what they say and do. And I'm okay with that. No one's above criticism. No one's perfect. So that means that they could legitimately be criticized. So I get all that. So I'm okay with all that. So to me, if someone criticizes me or what we do, or says we can be friends, it's all good. Now, people don't always have that same perspective. Some people, it's like you criticize and, you burn the bridges and you can't be friends. And then there's this guilt by association thing where I disagree with you. So then therefore anyone who associates with you, they're bad too. I just can't do all that. And sometimes I get caught up in the middle. And the thing is, I feel like if we're going to be reasonable believers, there has to be a way where we can have legitimate disagreements, because we're not always going to agree about everything. And listen, the Christian church has been struggling to deal with Islam properly ever since it first appeared. And we haven't really, the Christian church hasn't, I don't know, done that well in a lot of ways. It's been a real challenge. And also the Christian church struggles with questions of methodology. So I think questions of methodology can be good, healthy conversations that we should have. We've been having them already. It is what it is. Some of it's personality, some of it's style, some of it's cultural. There's all these different factors. It's really complex. And so people are going to disagree. Some of the challenges for me come in when someone says, and here's the only way to do it.
Right.
I feel like we're on a highway where there's lots of lanes. I don't mean, all roads lead to God. We're all going towards hopefully this general same goal of we think about evangelism and what the church's mission is in the world. But it seems like there's different ways on that same highway. And I think we fill different voids, and some of it has to do with art and creativity. Not everyone agrees, but hey, it is what it is. Right. And I'm glad to be part of it nonetheless. Let's bring on Nate Lawrence. Nate Lawrence, how you doing? Welcome to Backstage with Vocab Malone and the panel. So what are your thoughts, bro?
Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, it's just been really interesting to follow your project here and see what you guys are doing. And I've been, I've paid attention to some of the criticism as that's come up. I don't think I ever did see his Facebook note, but yeah, I was very surprised when I watched last night's episode when they're at the beginning. Very interesting technique there.
Are you talking about including
James White in the beginning? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, that was a late edit, not intended. But the way it worked is we don't have any more Halal Hogan clips, right? That we shot for this, and so if we were gonna have the characters watching TV, we did have these extra reaction shots though.
Yeah.
So it was like, let's put it where we kind of have. It shows some mutual agreement between us and James White. It's just a question of methodology, maybe. And so that's what the clip was designed to show. And if you notice at the end, and someone just mentioned this in the live stream comment, I saw your comment, by the way, someone just said it. The Dennis character is saying he's having doubts because of things that James White had said. And so it's the idea of, these deconstructing who Muhammad was. And so it's done. I mean, really the main kind of aim of it is irony. There's sort of a strong ironic tone, but it's also just to show it's maybe not as different people might think, because sometimes things get exaggerated out. But I thought it was tasteful and done well enough, and I hope everything can be received in good humor. I hope people can just kind of like, oh, okay, that's clever,
Yeah, I know he talked about it today, and I haven't been able to listen through all that yet, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nate Lawrence, let's bring on now Nathaniel. Nathaniel, if you want, you can show yourself. If you don't, you don't have to. But let's see if we can hear you. What's up, Nathaniel?
Hey, how's it going?
Nice, man. So what are your thoughts on this episode? Maybe Islamicize Me in general?
I like the series in general. I think it's been a good way to just kind of learn about like the Islamic sources and stuff. This last episode is definitely pretty funny. A lot of laugh out loud moments when James White appeared in the beginning, and as well as when Robert Spencer appeared in the car. I thought that was pretty funny. I actually thought it was funny when Dennis was clanging the bottles and speaking in that voice. So I was already laughing at that point. But yeah, no, I've enjoyed the series, and it's been it's funny and informative, and it's interesting to see the discussion about the methodology, and I'm trying to keep an open mind about what different sides are saying about what you guys are saying or what James White is saying, and
yeah, I mean, sometimes these things can get messy on the internet, but ultimately I think we could look at it as an opportunity to say, let's have good, healthy discussions, because we want to be self-conscious of our methodology. We want to be aware of what we're doing, how we're trying to do it. And so how do we do that? Iron sharpens iron, And so I think that's all right. It's just sometimes things get messy, and that's how it is, but I mean, personally, I try to see through that, and I kind of enjoy the discussion because I think it's important, and maybe we can all learn a little bit from each other along the way. Now, we may not all agree at the end of the day. I mean, it's just it's life, you know, but we can maybe at least see, okay, here's your rationale. Even if I don't agree, we're still brothers, but you know, you do your thing over there. It's all good, you know, but I like that too. So, you know, this episode, everybody, if you notice, it's less source heavy because there's a little bit of the series is kind of a TV show satire. So there's drama at the end. We've established this world in a way, these characters, you know what I mean? We've done a lot of the source building. We're trying to have it pay off though in sort of a comedic real life way. And so it's not as source heavy and different things at the end. It's a little bit now like we're playing in the world we've created for dramatic effect. So understand these last few episodes are a little bit more like that versus us sitting around having these long discussions, backpack. This is a little bit more like almost a comedic, surreal take on the real life application of what these things happen. And I'll give you an example. It's sad, but it is what it is. The guy I knew in Phoenix, Elton Simpson, on his way to try to kill Robert Spencer, tweeted out and then made his own hashtag, Texas Attack. I'm not joking. He in general kind of gave you some hints about what he was going to do, talking about some of his brothers are with him, and put hashtag Texas Attack. Like he started that. You can go look at screenshots. Look up Elton Simpson, Simpson. Look up at the Twitter. Now, Twitter's been down and it's gone, but look it up and you'll see screenshots and you'll see the hashtag Texas Attack before the attack had happened, because after the attack happened, he was no longer breathing. And so I'm just saying that now we're doing something like that a little bit where we have the guy take a selfie right before he goes and gets Robert Spencer. So you guys can come back on, but first I want to make sure I get to everybody to make the rounds. So let me bring up now 11. 11, I'm unmuting you. I'm going to unmute you. And if you can, share video. If not, I understand. But hey, can you hear me? Let's see if I can hear you. 11, what's up? All right. Speak up a little bit. You're quieter. You're a little quieter than everybody else. I don't know if you get closer or something like that, but what are your thoughts on this episode?
Hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I also really like your series because as an artist myself, it's good to see what are the limits of what a Christian can do and cannot do. And it was also interesting also to see the debate with James White, because also it is permits to show both perspectives.
You broke up a little bit, but I think one thing of what you said is you're an artist yourself and you like to see what a Christian can do with art and apologetics. I think that's something what you said. Is French your first language?
Yes.
All right. Hey, that's all right. I went to Grenoble. I spent some time in Grenoble to witness to Algerian and North African Muslims for a while. And I don't want to say I wanted to move to France, but I kind of did want to move to France before I left. So much props to all my first language French speakers. I'm going to bring on someone else, though. I'm going to bring on Alexander. Alexander, I'm unmuting you.
Hello. Hello.
If you can share video. I can hear you, but what are your thoughts on this and maybe the series as well?
I think that your guys' series is really amazing. I'm glad that you guys are putting in all the work to make it so approachable for everybody to understand, since Islam is so complex.
Yes.
Not a lot of people can even understand that what you're showing is truth, and a lot of it they still deny, which is, I mean, it's not surprising that a lot of people live in denial about Islam, but I appreciate like the Christian perspective in which you guys are taking to like allow everybody to understand it, in a reasonable way and with like kind of a sense of humor.
Yeah, I mean, you'll go crazy if you only deal with sort of the dark side of this, because, you're talking about stuff. And so there's a little bit of dark humor in this. And to me, it just makes it more palatable. But the thing is, again, it's realistic. Like, there is a level of denial that a lot of folks have about the source of his Islam and what kind of man Muhammad really was. I'm not talking about your Muslim neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with the Christians. Now, if you do, we can be friends, but just understand I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not you, but the Christians who say all Muslims are lying all the time because all they do is practice taqiyya and they all really want to kill you. No. That there's people, I don't want to say Christians, there's people and some other who think that way and say that. Not on that page at all, not even for 1 second. That's different, though, than saying, here's what the sources say Muhammad said and did. And here's what people who read these sources, here's some of the ways they act them out.
Yeah, that's a great way for you guys to expand the conversation, especially for everybody that doesn't really understand like how to debate Islam for Christianity. Because I think that you're kind of right that the church is kind of dead to this. I think the Roman Catholics and the Protestants have a lot of work to do to be able to compete with Islam in the modern world.
Yeah, agreed. There's definitely truth to that. And you could see what a post-Christian society does with Islam. It doesn't know what to do. You know, you look at post-Christian Europe, and they just really have no answer because they have nothing really to take its place. They think their secularized, post-Christian, anemic worldview is going to work. It's not working. They're not able to really deal with it, it seems. All right, so with that, I'm going to bring up
appreciate it. Thank you.
Rox B. Hey, thanks everyone on the panel. I like hanging out with you guys. This is new. We haven't tried this before, but so far everyone's doing great. Everyone's been succinct and very respectful and chill. I should compliment you guys more. Everyone that's jumped on so far has been awesome. So thank you to all you guys. Let's bring on Rox B. Share the video if you can, but if not, at least make sure you got some audio. Rox B, you're in the house. How you doing tonight? Can you hear me, Rox B? Well, Rox B, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave you unmuted, but just know that we can't hear you or see you or anything. So if you decide to come on later, then you can join in. Right now, I'm gonna go to Reasonable Faith Indy. Reasonable Faith Indy, you are I'm trying to get you unmuted. Come on. Okay, now you're unmuted, and I just see a black bar, but that's all good. What's up with you, and what do you think of tonight? What do you think so far?
Hey, this is a great meeting here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Speak up, and I'll hear you even better.
All right, this sounds great. Hey, this is great. I love this. I haven't seen this much vitriol since the last Calvinism Arminian debate. So
Right.
this is great. I'm glad. I really like your perspective of. I've noticed that in the defense of of the videos and such, you particularly have had a sense of openness and humility while still also standing by your work as an artist and such. And so I respect both of those attitudes that you guys had. And I think of Os Guinness, and he's one of his concerns of apologetics and persuasion is to create work that doesn't just reach out to those who are already open and interested, but will actually help open people up to the subject itself. And I think this video shines maybe better than anything today in that regard. So props to you guys.
Good. That's good. I'm so glad. You mentioned Os Guinness, and no one ever agrees with everything anyone writes, but he writes some really interesting, insightful things about Western culture and cultural interaction, analysis, and engagement. Just almost every one of his books is like you got to get. So I love that you mentioned him, and I agree. And I think he has an open mind about stuff like that. And that's a great mention. I mean, anytime you want to share some Os Guinness stuff, I'm all ears.
Thank you.
That's good, though. I mean, it's funny. Even tonight, I shared something because everyone listen to this. This is interesting. Someone's going around Twitter and different social media things, and they shared this with me too, right? And what they did is they're sharing this article from the Smithsonian that talks about how certain insects' wings have some healing properties in them. Now, it's not flies, and it's an Australian insect specifically mentioned in the article. Now, what do you think Muslim apologists are doing with this Smithsonian article? They're sharing it as if it's evidence that Muhammad he was on to something, don't you know? Now, of course, the sources don't mention that it was, the sources that Muhammad's talking about don't mention that it was they're not going to be dealing with an Australian insect, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he's not in Australia. But not only that, even if that's true, that wouldn't explain why you would need to dip the whole insect, which is a different insect they mentioned in the article, into the food and eat it all or whatever. Like that doesn't explain it either. So it's just kind of silly. But nonetheless, I shared it tonight to show like we're not making this up. And there are people in the real world who still defend these things because they've got to defend Muhammad. And so because of their loyalty to Muhammad, really above all else, really, it's almost like, I mean, there's an idolatrous aspect to some Muslims' relationship to their view of Muhammad, And I mean, it's almost like you guys, this looks like shirk to us. If you want to use the word shirk, this looks like shirk. Nonetheless, they're sharing this stuff, and I put it on my Facebook page, and a friend of mine who's a secular atheist, he's ethnically Jewish, but he's a hardcore secular atheist, but he kind of wants to be progressive and sensitive. So when I shared it, he's like, oh, don't you know when the cavemen in Europe were, I mean, he didn't say cavemen, but basically when the Middle Ages Europeans were dumb and had no clue about medicine, the Muslims' medicine was the shiznit. That's what he said. It was the bomb, right? And so I explained, like, he was talking about certain things that happened under Islamic kingdoms that almost despite what Muhammad said and taught, not really what the sources said. And so I said, I'm not talking about what any given Muslim doctor did or didn't do. We're talking about the sources here. And then I dropped another article where in the modern era, the World Health Organization had to warn a number of Muslim-heavy countries that their population needs to stop drinking camel urine because there was outbreaks of disease directly related to the intake of camel urine by modern countries right now. In the 2000s, people were still doing this because they believe it has healing properties. Why? Because of the sources, because of what Muhammad said. And drinking camel urine is not healthy. Nonetheless, I had a person approach me about that too, and they said, you're making fun of Middle Eastern culture. And I said, how? Because you made fun of camel pee. And so I just wanted to double check. I have a bunch of Middle Eastern friends, and I got on my text message, and I text all of them, and I said, let me ask you this just to make sure. I said, is drinking camel urine? I felt embarrassed asking the question. A common thing, and these are folks who lived or have lived, and there's like, no. And here's what they said. So basically, some Muslims do this when they get desperate because of what Muhammad said, but he said no Christian would ever do this because we know, I was very clear. So this is not a Middle Eastern thing, and that's a problem. People will automatically equate Islam with Middle Eastern culture or something like that. Middle Eastern culture, but the hospitality, and there's so many beautiful, amazing things about it. The more you get to know it, you love it. It's not identical with Islam. Drinking camel urine is not part of Middle Eastern culture. And so, in fact, a lot of the countries mentioned in the article are actually African countries. Nonetheless, okay, bringing that up. Now, going back, I've got you, Indy. I got Alexander. I think the only person I have not spoke to yet is Diana. What's up, Diana Perez? You are unmuted. Welcome.
Hi. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, louder the better, but I can hear you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? I saw you smiling. You were having a good time.
No, I was laughing at everything that you were saying. Just the fact that they got offended that you were making fun of the camel pee. Right? I wouldn't want to claim that for my own culture. Like, if that was something that was like in a Puerto Rican culture, I would totally deny it.
Right.
Be like that.
we don't do that.
I'm like, what's that? But no, I totally support everything that you guys are doing, and I think what gets people is kind of like the shock factor of these episodes, because it's like, oh, that's totally ridiculous, but it's not that. What's ridiculous is the fact that you're getting that out of the Quran, like the Quran and the Hadith, and it's like, you guys aren't making anything up. You guys are acting, and you're, and the acting's funny and all that, but at the same time, it's not like you're getting these things from some other source that's not what is in Islam. So I guess that's why I'm such a strong supporter of it. And, people want to always compare it to the Bible. Well, the stuff in the Bible, like the history in the Bible, it's like a history book that God never commands certain things outside of, certain, circumstances. And he's never asked, like, even the most ridiculous stuff in the Islamic faith, like just the ridiculousness of it all. Like even in the Old Testament, where it's things that they would have asked. He asked certain people to do certain things, and it would have kind of made you scratch your head, but there was a purpose behind it, and then eventually you kind of see that being revealed, and then. But it never like how Allah does it in their scriptures. It's just, I don't know. The more I learn about it, the more I'm just like, I guess just the fact that not even a lot of Muslims know what their belief is about, and I kind of feel bad for them. Where I used to live in Massachusetts, and there was a lot of peaceful Muslims, and I don't have anything against them, but it almost seemed like they were ignorant about their own faith. Like they didn't know everything that was in the
Right.
book. I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that they didn't even, a lot of Muslims don't know what's written in those texts. And that surprises me above everything else, is that there's a lot of ignorant Muslims.
Right.
A lot of ignorant Christians, you know.
Great point, Diana. And so we're not trying to tell Muslims, hey, you should start doing this stuff. We're trying to tell Muslims, you believe Muhammad was a man who heard from God. Not only that, you believe the things that he says he heard from God. Listen to this, everyone. Supersede all prior men who said they heard from God, including Jesus Christ, because he's the final prophet. Not only that, you believe that his example, the model that he set, Sunnah, is the example for all men and women, transcultural. Do you guys understand? This is like a big deal. And so if that's what you believe, then let's look at some of the sources to see what did he say, what did he do? Because it looks real quick like when you go into the internal sources, using a number of things, using scripture, using even your own other sources that seem to contradict some of these things, using, some common sense, using some logic, maybe some modern science. We all have different views on modern science and all that, but nonetheless, some things like we kind of know flies got dirty legs, and so it's probably not a good idea to eat their wings, or, right? We kind of see these things, but yet here you go. So we're trying to put it here. And the reason why is we're not just like, Muhammad was this, Muhammad was that. We're doing it we're doing it comedic. If anyone remembers Mary Poppins, remember what she would say? A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, right? So in a way, that's part of the comedy. And we've seen comments in the YouTube comment section where it says, I am Muslim, but this is funny. I am Muslim, but I am watching this. We actually haven't got hardcore heat yet from Muslims. Every now and then you see the threats, but David always has those in the videos. We get a lot more. And people were like, I had a guy on Twitter, no Muslim is ever going to talk to you again now, Vocab. It's actually the opposite. The second these episodes started coming out, a guy in Chicago who I used to talk to pretty regularly, a Muslim man named Nadir, we hadn't talked in a long time. I wasn't even sure if he still had my number. He starts texting me. He's like, hey, I'd like to talk to you about some of these things because in Islam, we have great answers for all these things you're bringing up. Now, he's more of an apologist kind of guy, so he knew about the things we're bringing up, but he's claiming there's great answers for all of them. Now, I'm thinking of after Islamicize Me ends and we do some other things that maybe I might have him on and hear these explanations, But you'll see that I'll be respectful and chill with him. He's not like, I can never talk to you again, Vocab, because you're involved with this. It's actually different. He wants to talk to me now because he's like, you're bringing these things up. So these predictions about, Muslims will do this, not do that. It's really not the case. It's very personal, one-on-one, and I don't know. I just want to bring that out to people. And that reminds me, real quick, I got to make an announcement. I know we're towards the end of this, and I know I'm talking fast. I know it's late, blah, blah, blah. But check this out. Everyone listen. After the last episode ends, after Islamicize Me ends, everybody, we are going to do a 10-part series called Un-Islamicize Me. Now, it's not going to be a TV show with production and editing. It's not that. It's going to be these live stream chat hangouts with Vocab Malone, David Wood, Sam Shamoon, John McCrae, and maybe every now and then a special guest or two. We're going to be on here, and what we're going to do is take 10 key issues that were brought up or that are relevant in Islamic Christian dialogue. And we're going to discuss them all for about an hour and a half with you guys, live stream chat right here on my channel. We're going to do it weekdays and some weekends. The weekend ones are going to be kind of late, and the weekday ones will be in the middle of the day. That's the schedule. Now, I'm going to give you guys more information about this as time goes. You're pretty much the first people to hear about this, though. But it's going to be pretty awesome, and we're going to deal with these issues, talk about them, take questions, all that, discuss some aspects from the series as a chance to say, here's some things we couldn't discuss. Here's some things we did discuss. Let's go deeper into it. Un-Islamicize Me. It's going to be very neat because you have all of us together doing this stuff. I mean, David and Sam together, and then, it's just going to be awesome. And so we're very excited about it. Now, I know people are like, this is a lot of live streams. Look, we're not going to be live streaming this intense forever for the rest of our lives, but there's kind of a special moment right now. Here's my thought on it. We're living in it. We're enjoying it. Islamicize Me is almost over. Everyone's going to be sad when it's gone, like when you used to be a kid and you had to leave summer camp and then you realize you should have enjoyed it more, right? It's like that. So we're going to live on the afterflow, ride the momentum, the wave, and after we're going to drop these things together, these live chats with not just me, but those other dudes where we get into these issues. So I think it's going to be awesome. So stick around and listen up for that because the first one is planned this Saturday. Because remember, the last episode of Islamicize Me is this Friday. So we've only got tonight, Thursday, Friday. And then we're going to do these follow-up episodes. And then some other things we're working on besides the things we're going to do later on. And I see you guys giving thumbs up and all that. That's good. Excellent. We're going to, besides the Jesus Muhammad rap battle, that's going to take a while, by the way. But that's just in the works. We're working on a supercut edition of this where we take some new angles because we actually lost some SD cards. We've got some alternate angles we never got to show in the series, some alternate takes, and we're going to incorporate those into a new edition of the movie that goes like this. And we're going to take away a lot of the like intro segue stuff because it can't be a 4-hour thing. It's going to be like a 2-hour, 2.5-hour type thing. Put it all together, supercut, and you can just hit play and watch all the way through and you'll see some new stuff. And we've got a lost episode that's going to come out. We had some material that we couldn't fit in. We had lost some of it. Now we refound it. So there's a missing episode that's going to come out later on. Now, is it going to happen immediately? I don't know. I'm going to talk to David and find out a timeline on that. But just know there's going to be a supercut in the works. And there's also going to be this lost episode. So there you go. And it looks like you're the last person I'm going to bring up. And then we're actually going to get out of here pretty soon. Rox B, you weren't heard. But now let me unmute you to see if you can be heard. Because I see you're in the chat. So you're around. But I don't know. Can you unmute yourself? Because every time I hit unmute, it's not working. Rox B, are you live with us?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your thoughts?
I'm kind of sad that this series is ending, actually.
That's all right. I feel the same way.
But I am looking forward to the rap battle. That I've been looking forward to that for months.
Well, it's gonna take some time, but it's gonna happen. So just look, Billy Mandalay says the goat ate the episode. That's funny. Yeah, the goat ate the episode. That's what happened. But I mean, you've been watching. What do you think? Any other comments? You know, you're the last panelist I'm gonna have on tonight. So anything you want to say?
Actually, I really liked day 23. That was by far my favorite.
Was that the one that got taken off the channel?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah, the Dawah to Hebrew Israelites. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would have been interesting if you had kind of been able to expand on that and go to like other groups and stuff. But
right, yeah. We there was some other stuff we had in mind, but it just we had to start recording. I mean, we had other stuff we had to do because we realized we could go around all day in character doing all kinds of crazy stuff, you know?
Were they really confused by Dennis's character? Because they looked like they might have been staring at him kind of funny.
Yeah, they didn't know who he was or anything. They were like really confused as what was going on, especially because he kept on saying things like these men don't know how to pee properly. Yeah,
I've noticed that was his favorite.
They were just like, so they literally acted as if we were not there. They would not engage us. They tried to not even talk about us on the microphone. They literally acted as if nothing was happening. But it made it so chaotic. It was hilarious. If you would have been out there watching it, because there's not only us, but we had like 2 camera people and then 2 extra people we had brought. So there was like a lot of us. And some of the cameramen were also in costume. They were also dressed up. So it looked like pretty wild. It's so funny.
That was an interesting day.
So here's probably what's going to happen. Everyone, I see you guys in the live chat. Is David still around? Because I'm going to try to get an ETA. I'm going to see if he'll respond. Let me know if he gives an ETA. He said 2 a.m. because it'd be cool if this could end and then boom, the new episode's up. Now, let me tell you guys something real quick. Tonight's episode features my other 2 kids. Now, they don't have a long part like Marco did. They have a brief cameo, but it's pretty funny. And so tomorrow, my plan is I'm going to go live again tomorrow during the day. And I'm going to interview my other 2 kids and talk about their role in Islamicize Me and all that stuff like that. So tomorrow my plan is to interview the other 2 because tonight's episode should have them. So that'll be a lot of fun, I think. Now, with that, yeah, this is crazy. Elizabeth had re-uploaded day 23 and they took it off her channel too. Hey, Elizabeth, fight that. See if you can get it back on because A lot of times if it just like, they'll flag something, but try to see if you can get it back on. Okay. David says 1 more hour, everybody. 1 more hour. So it is late, but hey, it is what it is. This episode has special effects in it. You'll see when you watch it, you'll probably know why the editing took long. It's because of the special effects. It took a while to get it right. But he says another hour. Now with that, let me end briefly with something, guys. I haven't done this, but I just want to show you something, a few quick things. It's not going to take long, and I think it's important. It's out of Acts 15. And I'll show you a couple things out of Acts 15. What is Acts? It's the early church's history book. It's the acts of the Holy Spirit and the things that the apostles and disciples and early believers did as they were empowered by the Holy Spirit. And I want to show you, it's really a chapter filled with disagreement and resolution. And let me show you a few things of what I mean. Acts 15:1. But some men came down from Judea and were teaching the brothers, unless you are circumcised according to the custom of Moses, you cannot be saved. So these seem to be people who would accept Jesus as Messiah, but had some issues in their theology where they were trying to put on Jewish customs upon Gentiles. Verse 2. And after Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and debate with them. So these were all people in the early church together, but they thought this issue was worthy of debating. So these are fellow believers debating. Now, granted, it's a doctrinal issue, but nonetheless, you see that they were debating with these folks. Paul and Barnabas and some of the others were appointed to go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and elders about this question. So then they deal with it. They have a very reasoned conversation where they refer to the Old Testament, some good stuff. And then at the end, they have a letter that goes out to the churches. Now, back then, you couldn't do an email or a text to everybody. So they had to send a letter, and then they send it out to the churches with the Gentiles. Now I want to show you something else with that. The letter ends in verse 29. Now look here at verse 36. So this is after this all happened. I'm still in Acts 15. Check this out. And after some days, Paul said to Barnabas, so they had already delivered the letter, and it brought great joy to the Gentile churches. Let us return and visit the brothers in every city where we proclaim the word of the Lord and see how they are. So Paul says, hey, Barnabas, we did a mission journey, trip. Let's go find out how those churches that we've established by God's grace and power, how they're doing. So it's like a follow-up, like discipleship, right? Now look at verse 37. Now Barnabas, remember, what is Barnabas? He's called the son of encouragement, the son of encouragement. That's Barnabas's character. I love Barnabas. We don't see a lot about him, but he seems to be a generally really basically an awesome guy. And I love the fact his name is the son of encouragement. How beautiful is that? Wouldn't you want to be known that way? And you're going to see his character shine here. Verse 37. Now Barnabas wanted to take with them John called Mark. Now I'm sympathetic to him because my real name is John Mark. Wanted to take with him John called Mark. That's his 2 different names depending on which society he was in, right? So sometimes he's just called John Mark. So Barnabas wanted to take John Mark, but what did Paul want to do? Verse 38. But Paul thought best not to take with them one who had withdrawn from them in Pamphylia and had not gone with them to the work. So Paul was on mission. He said, look, I don't want to take John Mark because last time, and I'm going to read this in a second, he left us in the middle of the journey. And Paul is serious-minded about the mission. He sees how important the gospel is. He sees how important this mission is. He doesn't want to complicate it with someone who had proven themselves in another instance to not be serious enough to complete the work. And so that makes sense. They both have a reasonable point because you can imagine Paul, what does he want to do? He wants to give John Mark a second chance as a son of encouragement. Now watch verse 39. And there arose a sharp disagreement so that they separated from each other. This disagreement was serious enough that they had to go 2 different ways. Now, the reason I bring this up, I'm going to finish this chapter. Just give me a second here. The reason I bring this up, guys, is not because some of the disagreements we're having now are identical. They're not identical to this. This is a rough analogy, okay? This is not a question of methodology. This is a question of personnel and some other issues. I understand that. But I think we can draw a rough parallel, a general parallel to say Christians can disagree with each other where they each have a legitimate point and their reasons, and it's kind of a tactical question, and they're not sinning. Luke, who's the author of Acts, does not really specifically clearly say who is right, who was wrong. He doesn't say it. We don't know. You can draw your own conclusion or opinion, but it doesn't say who was right. But they split up about it because Barnabas was serious. I'm going to give John Mark a second chance. Now watch what happens, though. The Lord will use disagreements we have when they're not sinful, especially. Now, God uses the sinful ones too. We don't want to aim for those, though. When there's a non-sinful disagreement among brothers and sisters, God can use it. This is beautiful. Watch this. I hope you guys have seen this before. Barnabas took Mark with him and sailed away to Cyprus. But Paul chose Silas and departed, having been commended by the brothers to the grace of the Lord. And he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. Why is that so awesome? It ended up in two missions where they're going to go strengthen the churches. See the end result here? It's not a negative result. There's other times in the early church where they would say, and great fear and trembling rose among the early church. Here it says it strengthened the early churches. That's a good thing. So my point by all that is to say, brothers and sisters can disagree and they can still be friends. And you know what? I'm going to show you one other thing that I think is very beautiful, because remember, this dispute was over a person named John Mark, right? And basically Paul said, hey, look, he jammed out on us, so I didn't want to deal with it again. But let me show you something here in Paul's swan song, as it's called, right? What is Paul's swan song? It's 2 Timothy. And I am done after this, guys, okay? I am done after this. In 2 Timothy, the last letter that Paul ever wrote, I'm going to show you something that I think is absolutely beautiful. And he's giving instructions here. And I hope you've seen this before. If not, let me bring it out real quick. Verse 9 of 2 Timothy chapter 4. Do your best to come to me soon. So imagine Paul, he's kind of alone. He's dying basically here in jail. He knows it's the end. For Demas, in love with this present world, has deserted me and gone to Thessalonica. How sad would that be? Paul, at the end of his life, a guy who was with him, jams out on him and leaves him. Crescens has gone to Galatia. Titus to Dalmatia. Paul's alone. What does he say? Look, verse 11. Luke alone is with me. Now, Paul's writing this letter to Timothy. That's why it's called 2 Timothy. What does he want? Who does he want, rather? He wants John Mark. Verse 11, chapter 4, 2 Timothy. Luke alone is with me. Get Mark and bring him with you, for he is very useful to me in ministry. Isn't that beautiful? So maybe Barnabas giving Mark a second chance, pouring into him, taking him along. It ends up where at the end, things were clearly patched up. They were better. And where now, years later, as a dying man, Paul can say, bring Mark. I don't have anyone. Timothy, come, bring Mark. He's very useful to me in ministry. That's beautiful. So the point by all that is we can disagree. We can see different ways and see different things. And I understand the situation is not identical. I'm trying to draw a parallel about how Christians disagree. And we can still say years later, maybe even sooner, let's bring this person. They're useful to me in ministry. I want to be around this person. And I still have that same vibe about the people who even disagree with Islamicize Me. And I hope that they could have that same vibe too. Someone in here, and that concludes the Bible study portion today, and we're about to jam out. I just want to look real quick at the comments one last time, and somebody in here is making some funny comments. Melody Malone says, "Oh my goodness, I think Vocab should do a Bible teaching series. I'd listen for sure." Okay, that's legit. I'm with that. And you said something else that was funny in here, Melody. Where'd it go? I'm trying to find where it was. I listened to you reading the Bible. How about making an MP3 or something? You're trying to really get me busy, record the Bible in MP3 and do a Bible teaching series, but I appreciate that. We might be able to get into some more stuff because I do enjoy doing that with you guys as well. You know, everything's not fun and games. But with that, listen, panel, you guys were super awesome. If we had more time, I'd bring you back on. We don't, though. So I'm about to end this, but I liked having you guys in here, and we're probably going to do it again this way, okay? So you guys were awesome. Nathaniel, Alexander, Nate, Diana, Joe Cool, I see you, Mackenzie, Reasonable Faith, Roxby 11. Someone else dropped out. I forget who it was, so please forgive me. Your name's not up here anymore, so I forget who the other person was. But you guys were super awesome up there in the panel. The live chat was well as well today. You guys were just fantastic. Now, look, I'm going to go. I know some of you guys can't stay up. I'm going to stay up because I'm excited for tonight's episode because I know some of what's in it, and it's just awesome. This is a great time to be alive. This is exciting stuff. And I'm looking forward to the future of not only the end of the series, but Un-Islamicize Me, future discussions with Muslims that are going to come out of the series that you guys are going to see, and then the stuff we've got planned in the future. So lots of exciting stuff, and you guys are making it happen. So with that, much love, shout out, peace out, y'all.